Town of Ayer Zoning Board of Appeals, Wednesday, January 18th, 2023, 6 p.m. Remote participating meeting agenda amended. Due to the ongoing COVID-19 pandemic, in accordance with Chapter 22 of the Acts of 2022, suspending certain provisions of the Open Meeting Law, OML, public bodies otherwise governed by the OML are temporarily relieved from the requirement that meetings be held in public places, open and physically accessible to the public, so long as measures are taken to ensure public access to the body's deliberations through adequate and alternative means. This meeting will be live on Zoom. The public may participate remotely by joining Zoom meeting ID 857-9728-7177 or by calling 312-626-6799. For additional information about the remote participation, please contact Samantha Benoit, Administrative Coordinator at espenoit@ayer.ma.us or 978-772-8220, extension 114 prior to the meeting. First, we'll call the meeting to order. First item on the agenda is the approval of the agenda.
I make a motion to approve the meeting agenda.
Second,
All in favor signify by saying aye. State your name.
Jessica Gino, aye.
Mike Gibbons, aye.
You're muted, John.
You know, I don't like talking to you, Sam.
Yeah, I know.
John Ellis, aye.
Sam Goodwin, aye. All right. That's approved. The next item on the agenda, public hearing, application for variance, Tannery Crossing LLC. Where is it? There it is. All right. Ayer ZBA will conduct a remote public hearing at 6 p.m. on Wednesday, January 18th, 2023, regarding the application by Tannery Crossing LLC, a property located at 11 Tannery Street, Ayer, Mass. Applicant is seeking a variance pursuant to Ayer zoning bylaws, section 5.2, table of use regs, section 5.14 to allow an automotive repair establishment in the light industrial district pursuant to Article 3.2 B2. For Zoom or call-in information, please contact espenoit@ayer.ma.us or 978-772-8220, extension 114. Advertised January 4th, 2023 and January 11th, 2023. Why do we have two different regulations in there? 5.2 table of regs and 5.14. Mr. Gibbons, Attorney Gibbons, I guess you're up on the table.
Yes, yes. So Article 5.2, table of uses, that's the table of uses. And
Right.
in that table, section 5.4 is the section for automobile service stations, which automotive repair is part.
You mean it's not in there. It's not in that table. Is it referenced? I don't have my
It
book
is.
with me.
Yep,
Yes.
it is in the table. So 5.2 is the entire table.
Yeah,
5.14 is the one that is auto sales and service establishments, public
Yep.
garage and gasoline stations.
okay. All right, thank you. So, who are you representing?
I represent Tannery Crossing LLC, the owner of 11 Tannery Street.
And they're looking to rent. Is that correct? They're going to rent the space to Jarvis?
Yeah, so the principals of Tannery Crossing LLC are John and Mike Jarvis.
Oh, okay.
You probably all know them. They're here with me tonight, and I'll pan over. There's Mike. And just while we're doing introductions, also with me is Mike Gould, who is the master service technician, who will be in charge down at this location if the variance is granted.
Okay, thank you. So you're up. Let's hear it.
Very good. So we're before you tonight seeking a use variance as allowed by section 3.2 B2 of the Ayer zoning bylaw. And 11 Tannery Street is located in the light industrial district. And in the light industrial district, auto service establishments are not a use that's allowed of right. Tannery Crossing proposes to use the garage at this site for overflow motor vehicle repairs from the Jarvis Ford Service Center at the dealership at the Rotary. As stated in our submittal, after coming out of the pains of the COVID pandemic, Jarvis Ford has been experiencing growth in its sales and service business. And the Ford Motor Company generally is working hard to become a leader in the electrical vehicle industry. And repairs of electrical vehicles can involve the use of specialized vehicle lifts that are different than the lifts that are used for repair of gas vehicles. So you may know Jarvis Ford has been in the town of Ayer for 62 years. They currently employ 46 people, many of whom live in Ayer and the surrounding communities. The Jarvis family has a long history of not only being a great business owner and employer, but also has been very generous over the years in its support of various organizations and special events here in the town. The Jarvises want to continue to provide this great service to the people of Ayer and the surrounding communities, and also to many of the municipalities that bring their municipal vehicles to Jarvis Ford for repair, including our police and fire department. In order to continue to provide the best service that it can to its customers, it needs to have more service area to perform the repairs. In 2016, Tannery Crossing LLC purchased 11 Tannery Street with the intention of eventually growing its business at that location. In fact, in late 90s and early 2000s, Jarvis Ford actually leased the same property from the then owner and did auto repair there and never had a problem with the zoning enforcement officer at that time. So most recently, Tannery Crossing was leasing this property to a recycling company, which resulted in a not so pleasing appearance of the lot. Tannery Crossing was able to have that tenant vacate the premises late last year, and they've done a tremendous job at cleaning up the lot. I had submitted to Sam earlier today some photos that I wanted to reference. And Sam, are you able to pull those up?
Yes, give me a second.
Sure. And particularly looking at photos 1 through 3.
Right.
And
You
I
shared
numbered
them
the
with us.
photos.
I saw them. You see him, Mike?
No, I didn't hit share yet. I wanted to make sure I hit the right screen first. Can you guys see it?
Yep,
I don't know if any of you had happened to be by there when the prior tenant was there, but I had been. And again, it wasn't a very attractive site. There was a number of dumpsters and recyclable materials on the outside of the building. So if we look at photos 1, 2, and 3, you'll see that today the site is very clean, neat, and of a nice appearance.
Seems to me we had something to do with that site when the recycling people were in there, didn't we?
We did, Sam.
We did.
Yeah, okay. We were
Attorney
in there.
Gibbons, do you know when that was?
I don't know. I did speak with Charlie Schultz, and he told me that maybe he did some enforcement action against them, but I wasn't involved in it. So
Yeah,
maybe they were
we-
before you for that.
We denied that.
that's right, we did, yeah.
So-
I forget what it was for, but yeah, we denied it. So, yeah, we've seen it building before. Now this is the after, which is obviously much better.
Right. So the shape of this lot and the garage on the lot makes it uniquely suitable for the proposed use. As you can see from the plan submitted with the application, this is a long, narrow lot surrounded on 3 sides by the railroad and fronting on Tannery Street. And you probably all have the packet, the original application. And if we can look at the plot plan that was
Yeah.
attached to that.
mhm,
So you can see that the lot is again long and narrow. It's surrounded by the railroad, so the only abutter is the railroad, and then the frontage on Tannery Street. So directly across the street is the general residential district with multifamilies and then a large pre-existing industrial building. The lot in the garage makes for a good flow of vehicles moving through the garage from one end, and on this plan, it would be from the left end through the building to the right end, so that vehicles don't have to back out of the building. It's a nice flow. And if you can, Sam, if you would scroll, I think 3 or 4 more pages, we did a sketch of the Bay Area.
Yep.
On this, you can see the vehicles come in from the parking area. They go up on the lift, and then when they're done, they'll come out the other end. So it'll keep all of the vehicle movement on site.
Can I ask a question?
Sure.
Why don't these drawings depict the house that's practically attached to the garage?
So that's the office here. It's marked as office. And so it hasn't been used as a house, although it has a house-like appearance. It hasn't been used as a house, at least as long as you've owned it, and probably in the 90s. Was it used as a house?
Not that I'm aware of.
Yeah. So
I don't think the predecessors use it either, John.
Well,
Yeah.
it's still a residential building. Well,
No,
I'm
it's
just,
residential
you know-
appearance.
What?
no, it's
Be a residential appearance. I don't think it's a residential building. It's
Some of it's
obviously,
like-
huh?
It has not been used as a residence, at least since the 90s when Jarvis was renting it before. And there's no kitchen in that building. It's always been used, at least since the 90s, as office space.
Okay, so that's going to be office space in conjunction with this repair facility?
That's correct. In there, there'll be a locker area for the guys and gals that are working at this location, and there'll be maybe a receptionist or an office worker, but it would just be office. There's no residential use.
Okay, I'm okay with that as long as there's no residence.
Yep.
So as I say, the lot, the shape of the lot and the garage, it's uniquely useful for our proposed use. And in fact, if you look at photo 6, going back to the photos that I had submitted this morning. So the day I was going down to the site, I was coming down Bly Street. This truck is loading or unloading at the large facility across the street. And apparently when it does that, it totally blocks the corner of Bly and Tannery. So I had to actually turn around, go up Forest Street and come across to get to the property that way. So at the proposed use, we won't have any tractor trailer access to our lot. And this is a good thing because I think clearly tractor trailer, any additional tractor trailer use here would be detrimental to the neighborhood. And in fact, the DPW commented on, trying to mitigate traffic impacts. And I would say that not having a use that requires tractor trailer access is a good thing, particularly looking at that photo. So a literal enforcement of the bylaw would result in hardships. For example, a denial of the variance would prevent the use of the property for a way in which it was purchased. It makes it more difficult for Jarvis to grow this particular aspect of their business here in Ayer, and it would limit the property's usefulness for many of the allowed uses under the bylaw because of the narrow shape of the lot and particularly the restrictions that practically are imposed for tractor trailer access. Many of the allowed uses would involve under the bylaw and light industrial would involve tractor trailer access. And I do believe that the board can grant the use variance in this case without substantial detriment to the public good and without derogating from the intent and purpose of the bylaw. We all know that the purpose of the bylaw is to keep incompatible uses separate by creating districts. In this case, we have a single industrial lot surrounded by the railroad and directly across from the residential districts. Many of the uses allowed as of right, again, I believe would have more detrimental impact to the neighborhood. One neighbor, Nick Gibbons, who owns and lives at 22 Forest Street, submitted a letter of support. And I think he sums it up great when he says that the prior use of the property led to a very messy and unattractive property. And he believes Jarvis Ford would be a much better neighbor. So we respectfully request the grant of the use variance and are happy to answer any questions that the board or the public might have.
I have two. One would be, what are your hours gonna be? Is it gonna impact the neighborhood? What's your hours of business?
7 a.m. to 5 p.m.
Okay. And will you put signs on the building?
Do we have any plans for signage? What I would say is if there is plans for signage, would obviously satisfy the sign bylaw.
Okay, thank you. John?
I don't know, do we need to be concerned about limiting the number of vehicles at one time?
I really don't think we can do that. Yeah, I don't think we can do that. We can just either say yay or nay on whether they can use it for automotive service in an industrial area. That's what's laying on the table right now. I don't think we can put stipulations on it. So it's either they can use it or not.
So, and what John Jarvis is saying to me now is that, that they're cognizant of keeping the lot looking neat. They certainly wouldn't overcrowd it or have vehicles parked on the side of the road.
And it's my understanding that no customers will be going to this site. All the customers will be going to the Ford dealership to interface with Jarvis.
That's correct. So there'd be Jarvis personnel bringing the vehicles to this location. There isn't going to be a drop off and pickup for customers.
Thank you.
Jess?
Yeah, I mean, the only thing I noted, the town planner says this has to have site plan review with the planning board.
I don't think so.
Um,
Oh, somewhere it said it did.
the
Oh,
town,
that was
do-
probably Alan. Was it Alan that said
no,
that?
that was
No,
Mark
that was-
Archambault, the
Yeah,
town planner.
Archibald.
Yeah,
Yeah, and I do plan to follow up with Mark.
Yeah.
There isn't any real change to the lot, so I'll touch base with him and see if we need a formal site plan or maybe a visit to the planning board to explain what we're doing and have them vote that there aren't any changes that would require certainly a full site plan.
I didn't think it would be required. All right.
Yeah, the bylaw is a little unclear on that. It seems to indicate any change of use, which I think is a little much, but we'll follow up with the planning board and Mark on that.
They didn't do that when they made this thing a recycle center.
Right.
maybe it's because a variance is being granted, but I don't have any concerns on this. I would specifically, I don't think the DPW mentioned traffic impact, but no customers would be going back and forth, and it doesn't go through the Park and Main intersection, so I don't have any concerns. This is fine with me.
John or Mike?
So I got to be honest, I am very pleased to hear that Jarvis staff will be the ones delivering the vehicles to the site. That was one of my primary concerns because, that there's really two ways into this, and one of them goes right by a playground in town. And as a parent with a young kid, I wouldn't want to see increased traffic going up to Peroni Park. So that's really big for me. I think you've pretty much answered this question, but no sales will be taking place on this lot, right?
No.
That's right. No sales of automobiles on this lot.
Okay. No, I mean, frankly, like Jess and it seems like John too, I don't have too many concerns with this. That last company that was in there, that building was near blight level bad. They did not do a good job. They were, that neighborhood suffered from having that business there. Jarvis has been in town forever. I think they keep their lot by the Rotary in pretty good shape. So the traffic concern was my big one, and it seems that they've addressed that. So I don't have too many concerns.
All right, make a motion.
Well, do we
How
want
about
to
the
see if there's
butters?
any residents?
Oh, yes. We have any public input?
Looks like Pauline has her hand up.
Pauline?
Wait, sorry, I couldn't get the unmute. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Yes,
I
ma'am.
just want to share my support. I'm the only resident, I think, attending this other than you elected or appointed officials. Mr. Jarvis, his family have done everything to support this town. And I have no doubt they will make this property as pleasant and as usable for the local people as well as the entire town. And I urge you all to support their request.
Thank you. Any other? Okay. Mike,
I make a motion to approve a variance pursuant to Air zoning bylaw, section 5.2, table of use regs, section 5.14, to allow an automotive repair establishment in the light industrial district pursuant to article 3.2B2.
Second,
all in favor signify by saying aye. State your name.
Jessica Gino, aye.
Mike Gibbons, aye.
John Ellis, aye.
Sam Goodwin, aye. You have your variance, sir.
Thank you very much. We appreciate the board's time.
Thank you very
Thank you,
much.
sir.
Have a great night.
Thank you. I make a motion, we close the public hearing for Tannery Crossing LLC.
Second.
All in favor signify by saying aye.
Jessica Gino, aye.
Mike Gibbons, aye.
John Ellis, aye.
Sam Goodwin, aye. Next item on the agenda, approval of the meeting minutes. I saw your correction. Good, good.
Yeah.
I have no comments. Anybody?
I'm all set.
I make a
Make a motion to,
Okay, go ahead. Your
I
turn.
make a motion to approve the meeting minutes of December 21st, 2022.
Second,
All in favor signify by saying aye.
Jessica Gino, aye.
Mike Gibbons, aye.
John Ellis, aye.
Sam Goodwin, aye. Okay. Before we adjourn, what's our next meeting? February?
February. Oh, I wrote it down.
15th.
Yeah, 15.
Yes, 15th, February 15th.
We have
Do we have
anything
any
on the
apps?
table?
At this point, nothing.
What's the cutoff date? It's about a week away. isn't it?
The cutoff date would be the 31st. And that would be cutting it close, but we'd make it.
Okay. All right. Well, thank you, everyone. Again, thank you for a wonderful job you did on the 40B. Goodbye.
I'll
Have
have
a good
those
night,
minutes for
everybody.
you
Motion
next
to
time.
adjourn.
Yeah,
Motion
Second
to
that, John.
adjourn. Yes.
Second,
All in favor signify by saying goodbye.
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 Bye.
Have a
Thank
good
you.
night, everyone.
Good night.
Thank you.
Good night.